He often does work, he develops documents. He looks at budgets on spreadsheet. Unless he runs a simulation or something like that, he really doesn't need a very powerful computer. But that hurts his heart. So who needs that kind of engineers? Someone doing lots of computations. Someone doing very high-end graphics work, sound engineers. Those folks need high-performance processors. Most of the rest of us use our computers as communication tools, and we don't need that kind of processing power. Then we talk about high-end video performance with very clear graphics. Again, everybody wants it, but you got to reserve it for those people who stare at a computer screen on a regular basis, because it's fatiguing. So maybe an executive may not need a high-performance video card and monitor setup, but the administrative assistant who sits in front of a computer 7 hours a day might, right? You think about headaches. One of the things you get with high-performance monitors is a higher refresh rate, right? The human, we start getting stop motion at 10 frames a second, but it's a noticeable flicker. Some people can notice the flicker at 30, some at 60. You start getting to 70 and 100, it's harder to notice. It causes less headaches. So high performance, if someone's having headache issues when they're working, maybe they need higher performance video, right? And then high-end sound, who cares? I like to listen to my music, don't get me wrong. Do I need high performance sound in my office? No, I don't. But if I was a sound engineer, I would. If I was doing editing for a movie, I would. If I was writing and developing video games, I would. But not in my job. And then computer screens, right? Who needs the big screen? It'll surprise you. Anyone who spends a lot of time studying, staring at a computer screen, the big screens can be easier on the eyes. So where, again, back to your corporate president who may not look at a computer all day long, whereas as his administrative assistant might, you might want to focus your big monitors on the people who are in front of it more often. Now, I worked for a company where the president figured that out. Okay, when I was with Advanced Hardware Architectures, John Overby was our president, and there were other issues that caused issues with him later. But when we were at first setting it up, he made some really smart calls, and one of them, he was 10 years my senior. And where I was on the first, computer wave, the first digital wave, he was UI graduate, magna cum laude, electrical engineering, pre-computer. So in his office, he realized he had to have a computer because he wanted to look 20th century and all that sort of stuff. So one of the engineers brought in his PC Junior. PC Junior was a very low-powered computer, and he had an appropriate screen on it. He didn't do anything with it. And he realized he didn't need a computer, he just had one there for show. So he had the cheesiest one he could have. Our engineers, on the other hand, had Sun Microsystems workstations to develop chips on. What do you need for the job? Small form factors. I have a tablet at home that I love, right? I use it for reading, I use it for a lot of different things. I have bought some apps so I can run presentations off of it. It makes traveling way easier. If someone's going to be traveling a lot, small form factors make a lot of sense. Someone who lives in a portable environment, like students, small form factors matter because they move a lot. They have to, they're dragging their computers around all the time. And then the amount of memory. How much memory do you have? What kind of memory? Playing that game can have a serious impact on the cost of a computer. In the main, most of us don't need high performance memory. We like it, we don't need it. So customize the amount of memory you're using and the quality of the memory you're using. Someone who's doing video graphics, someone who's doing a lot of intense computations, yeah, they need good memory. Someone whose job, I got to say this carefully, whose job it is to surf the net. And there are people who do that for a living. they need high performance memory because they're getting lots of refreshes on their screen on a regular basis. I don't need it, right? And the total amount. Let me talk about connectivity. LAN network versus wireless. Wireless are significantly cheaper, okay? When I first came to work here, you know, and you can still see, you know, examples of it here, right? They have places where you can plug internet cables in. And when I first started, the students who had computers were also packing around little 6-foot cables that they could plug into these things so they could plug in their computers. I can't tell you how many times I picked those things up off the floor and turned them into the lost and found. LAN networks are expensive, okay? But they provide some options. They're secure, all right? They're very hard to hack. You actually have to get close to the wire itself. Wireless are cheap, and that's the way the university's gone. There is a antenna here, and normally I can spot them, and I'm drawing a blank here, that picks it up. Now the problem, you know, you can set one of them up in here rather than running a whole bunch of wires through a subfloor into all the tables. Saves a huge amount of money. Another downside of the wireless is it's slower than a LAN, significantly slower. That antenna, and there might be two in here, they can each take 130 megabits. The wire takes 100 megabits on its own. And wires are going to fiber, you can get gigabit wires. So wires are faster. Wires are more secure. Wireless is cheaper. And you see most of the world going to wireless because of the cost factor. And then this whole upgrade a computer versus buy new. I've actually done pirouettes on this one, right? I spent, you know, in the early days when I spent $3,000 on a one-lung computer, we spent a lot of money upgrading it, you know, buying faster parts to improve it. Then the parts got so cheap and the computers got so cheap that, you know, I used to say, yeah, well, you know, you're better off putting a new memory and this and that in your computer. Nowadays, you're better off buying a new computer. Very few people actually go through the upgrade process unless they're a hobbyist or something like that. Most business computers, you know, they're a commodity. You buy them, you use them. Usually they work down the food chain and they're recycled out of the company. They don't change them anymore, all right? It used to be that we were doing that all the time. More memory, new hard drives, doesn't happen much anymore. And that's an important, you know, someone is gonna, because if you're doing this, someone in your office is gonna say, well, gosh, I need a new hard drive, I need a this, I need a that. They don't, they probably need a new computer. And it'll be cheaper to buy it that way. All right, so I have an assignment. I'm going to be giving you 3 today. This is the first one. On this website, and by the way, this lecture is posted, is the 1 hour of coding. This was set forward by President Obama. Everybody should have exposure to 1 hour of coding, right? Now, you click onto this website, and there's going to be a bunch of different options, right? A bunch of different ones to pick. I don't care which one you pick. They're all programming. They're all different kinds of, some of them are games, some of them are artistic in nature. Pick one and program something for an hour. And what I'll have you do is program it, run it for that hour, take a screen capture of your graduation certificate when you're done with it, and submit that to me on BBLearn. It'll be the easiest 10 points you ever get in this class. There's only 2 scores. 0, you didn't do it. 10, you did. Okay? It's easy, but it'll start that process of how computers work, right? Because the hardest language to learn when you program a computer is your first one. Once you understand how computers work, it works. So this is a starting point, okay? If some of you get excited, you can spend all the time you want learning that kind of stuff, and there's some websites on it to do that. The second assignment for today, all right? I will be posting a quiz today, and it will close tomorrow at midnight on Chapter 2. So get the textbook, read Chapter 2, and take the quiz, all right? And now, shifting gears slightly, I want to talk a little bit about the mini project. All right, this is the third assignment I'm going to give today. All right, the mini project. There are going to be 3 milestones. Basically, what we're going to, what the overview of this project is that you're going to come up with an e-commerce initiative for a company and build a website. Okay? But you kind of have to understand how this weaves through a company. So, what I want you to do most recently, the first assignment here, is in 1 page or less, develop an e-business idea that would be suitable for an e-commerce initiative. Keep it simple. Let me reiterate that you're to keep it simple, and please keep it simple. I said it 3 times. It's important to keep it simple. You could sell a product online, maybe a handcrafted item or something like that. Maybe you could provide opportunities for people to meet. I don't care. Simple e-commerce initiative, right? It should be fictional, right? I don't want it to be a real company. There are some reasons. Number one is I don't want to get sued. If you use someone's business that actually exists and you put up a web page, that could be liable. So make up a company, right? Now, I've done this a couple of times, and there's some students, every class, they have an idea that they actually want to make real. If you want to do that, that's great. Come talk to me. All I'll ask is you don't kick it off until after the course is over, right? I want you focusing on the course, not on your business idea. Now, if there's a market timing issue, I want to hear about it. So, first one pager, what would work? Okay, come up with an idea. Turn it in to me, again on BB Learn. This is your third assignment. And I'll record them. I'll record them in the order they come in. And as long as there's no duplication, and as long as they're simple enough, I'm going to go with it, right? Question?
E-commerce initiative. Give me an example of an e-commerce initiative.
I am going to sell meals in a box. Like that. That's one. I'm going to sell a bike online. I am going to distribute pictures of fine art. Anything that you can do online is legitimate. I do have a couple rules about that, and thank you for reminding me about that. G-rated, right? If it can't be on Disney, it can't be a project. So again, if you have questions about this, you can talk to me. This one, gosh, I want this done in the next couple of days, right? Milestone 2 will be a mini plan for the business. And these are the main steps that I want to be involved in. Do not panic. We're going to have a lecture where I go through each of these and tell you what I want. Okay? So a mini plan for your business. And the final one will be to build a web page. Now, we're going to use a tool, a website product called Wix. It's a free web hosting product. And it's got to support the business plan. You can't write the business plan and then go, oh, this is too hard, and come up with another web page. It's got to be the one that supports your business plan. And basically what I'll do is I'll open up a BB Learn assignment, and all you got to do is put the URL in it to find it, right? So once they're all graded, I'll send a note out to the class, and you can take them down. Okay? So I don't want to leave them up too long, partly because someone will say, hey, I might want to buy that. Well, it could turn into a real business. I don't have a problem with that, but it's something to think about, right? So I want to make this cycle pretty short. So when we get to the, we will do a tutorial on how to use Wix. I've got that ready to go. And once I turn that on, we'll fire it up, and take it down. It'll be very straightforward. Those are the 3 phases of the project. The first one, coming up with an e-commerce idea, something you want to sell online. Maybe you're dealing with a nonprofit. Maybe you want to appeal for donations. All of that works. All of that works. You can be as creative as you want to be. So that's the mini project, right? This is also posted online so you can see what's going on. Now, and that ends the second hour of information. So do you need to get up and go again, or do you want to start? Going to keep going?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay, I figured that, you know. So let me start with chapter 2, right? We're not going to go very far into this, but I want to start about the concept of data communications and information technology. All right, so beginning of chapter 2. Again, there's going to